Welcome to the children's program from Leaside United Church and Rosedale United Church in Toronto. My name is Rebecca and I'll be leading our program today. Today we're going to learn about David and how he was chosen to be king. Let's get started. For our craft activity today, you will need construction paper, pencil crayons or markers, scissors, and tape or glue. You will also need your Read, Wonder, Listen Bible if you have one. If you don't worry, we'll be doing the story together. If you're watching on YouTube, this would be a great time to pause the video and collect everything you need. We light the Christ candle each week to remind us that the light of God shines inside each and every one of us. We begin, as we do every week, with our gathering and centering prayer. This prayer is a time for us to center ourselves before we start our program and just to say thank you to God. So let's get started. Dear God, we thank you for today. We thank you for tomorrow. We thank you for our brains that help us think, our bodies that help us move, and our hearts that help us to love. Amen. The last few weeks, we have been talking about the prophet Samuel and how he's helping to find a king for the Israelites. Last week, we met Saul, who became king, but he wasn't a very good leader. In this week's story, we'll see how Samuel searches for another king and makes an unexpected choice. Let's take a look. A shepherd boy is chosen. Page 90 from the Read, Wonder, Listen Bible. Samuel was downhearted. The Philistines were attacking the people of Israel and winning. Saul was sick and not a good king. Nothing was going the way it was supposed to. Stop moping about Saul, God said to Samuel. I admit I should never have chosen him as king, but there's no point in crying over it. Fill your horn with oil and go to Bethlehem. I have chosen a new king. He is the son of Jesse, a descendant of Ruth and Boaz. How can I anoint another king while Saul lives? Cried Samuel. If he hears of it, he'll kill me. Then make sure he does not hear of it, replied God. So Samuel went to Bethlehem, to the home of Jesse and his family. When they gathered for a feast, Jesse proudly introduced his sons, one at a time. Samuel watched carefully. The eldest son was tall and handsome. Surely this was the one, thought Samuel. But the voice of God whispered in his mind, Don't judge by what he looks like. People do that. But I see what he is like inside. One by one, 7 sons came and went. They all seemed good to Samuel, but God said no. Are these all your sons? Samuel asked Jesse. Yes, said Jesse, all but the youngest. He is out looking after the sheep. Surely God would not choose the youngest, thought Samuel. But then again, God is full of surprises. When David came to join the feast, Samuel noticed that he was strong and handsome like his brothers, but there was something different about him. This is the one, whispered God. So while Jesse and his other sons stood around, Samuel anointed David. David was filled with the Spirit of God. But no one else knew that God had chosen a new king. In our story today, Samuel is looking for a new king because Saul was not a good king. Samuel goes to Bethlehem and looks at each of the sons of Jesse. If you were Samuel, what qualities would you look for in choosing a king? Samuel sees many older and handsome sons, but when he meets David, he discovers that it's what is on the inside that matters most. And this is true for you too. It's who you are that counts. craft activity today, we are going to be making handprint people. So to start, I'm going to get my construction paper. And there's some pieces here that are used, and we might use those along the way. But first, to start, we need one solid piece. So I'm going to get green, just because I like that color. No real reason. I'm going to put the rest of this aside for now, including those pieces that are just partial. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my piece of paper in half. And there's two ways you can fold. You can fold this way, or you can fold the long way. And we're going to do it this way, not the long way. There we go. Once it's folded in half, we are going to trace our handprints. So you can use any sort of writing utensil for this. I am going to use this marker. And all you need to do is place your hand so that your thumb is kind of on the line of the fold. And then you, or if you have someone who might help you, can trace your hand just like this. There we go. And once your hand is traced, you'll have the gap for the wrist, so you just need to connect those like so. And then we're going to use our scissors to cut this out. And the important thing is where this thumb meets the line, like that, we don't want to cut that bit. So I'm going to start down here and go all the way around. I'm going to cut my hand out. Now I'm getting to the end of my hand, so I'm going to go up over to the top of the thumb like this, but I'm not going to cut this bit. And what that does is now we have our cutout hand, but on that fold you can open it up like that. All right, and now we can use our colors and draw this in any design you would like, but I am going to do a person on my hand and pretend that this is my hair going out, and I'm going to draw my face. So let's see, what markers do I have in here? I have blue eyes, but I don't see any of those, so I'm going to use pink instead. I'm going to just draw my eyeballs. You can draw your eyes in whatever color you would like, whether it be the color of your actual eyes or just something that looks pretty. And then I'm going to do my nose. I think I'm going to do it in orange, just 'cause. And finally, I'm going to do my smile. And I was thinking, why don't I use some of my scraps here and make my smile out of construction paper? You can just draw a smile, or you can do any of your features using construction paper if you'd like. So I'm just going to eyeball it and make a smile. Let's see. There. Like that. And then I'm going to use my tape, because that's what I have at my house, and tape it down. And I nearly forgot to put on my person glasses, because I have glasses. I thought something looked a little funny, so I'm going to use this again and draw me some nice eyeglasses. There. That's starting to look a bit more like me. And now we get to go to the inside part once you're finished with your face, which you can do in any way you would like. So I'm going to move these to the side for now, clear my space a bit, and open up to the inside. And this is kind of like what's inside of you. So, something interesting that I thought we could do is take a piece of red or pink if you have it, or any other color if you don't happen to have those ones, and do a little trick to make a heart. And the way you do that is you fold your paper over. It doesn't have to be folded a lot, just a little bit. There we go. And then on that fold, let's get a good dark color so you can see. We are going to trace half of a heart. So you go up and then around. And I'm going to do a smaller one just to make sure that it fits with my hand. So just a little baby heart. There we go. And then when you cut, if you just follow the lines, but don't cut the part with no line, you will get a heart. Like this. There. When you open it up, you have a little heart. So I'm going to take my hands, and when they're opened up, and I thought I would put this heart right where my thumbs meet, and then when you fold it, you won't be able to see it, but when you open it up, you'll see the heart. So this is where your tape or glue comes in. I'm going to tape mine down because that's what I've got. But if you have glue, you can just glue the back and place it in the middle so that the line where the thumbs meet and the line in the middle of the heart kind of line up. So I'm going to put some tape on the back of this heart and place it right there. And I'll just fold it to make sure it's nice and creased. Now we have the heart on the inside. And then for the last bit of our craft, this is something that we all have to do for ourselves because no one will be quite the same, but we're going to write down things that make us who we are, things that are inside of us. So for me, when I think about traits that I have, one of the ones that comes to my mind is caring. I am very caring for those around me. And I'll keep thinking of other traits. I am a good listener. So I'm going to write that. And if you don't know how to write yet, that's perfectly all right. You can find someone in your household who does and ask them to help you out. And for my last trait, I put that I'm a bit of a goofball because I can be a bit silly sometimes, and that's kind of fun. There. So those are the traits that I've chosen for me, but you can put whatever is for you. And if you can't think of some, then maybe you can ask those around you. And as we close up our craft, you can see us on the outside. When you open it up, you can see all that is on the inside. I wonder what traits you'll put in.
As we go out from this time together, may we give thanks for all that our story has taught us this week, and remember that who we are inside counts most of all. See you next week.